Good day, future nurses. So for today, we are stepping into one of more complex and often misunderstood area of mental health, and that is personality disorder. So these are long-standing patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that can deeply affect a person's relationship, self-image, and ability to function. So as nursing students, it is important to move beyond the stigma and truly understand the challenge or the challenges that these individuals faces. So let us learn how to recognize the signs, the approach patients with empathy, and provide the care that fosters trust and healing. Okay, so basically, when we talk about personality, it is an ingrained, enduring pattern of behaving and relating to the self, others, and the environment. So there are a lot of things that we could use for us to see our personality. It could be type A or type B. So type A, there are the more rigid one, the more studious one, the more relaxed one are the type B. So sometimes we also have the big five personality traits. It's the ocean. Okay, so openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And there's other more things that we could use to seek and check our personality. So basically, when we talk about personality, it includes our perceptions, it includes our attitudes and emotions. So these behaviors and characteristics are consistent across the broad range of situations and do not change easily. So a person is usually not conscientiously aware of his or her personality due to many factors. So just I have stated, there are a lot of factors that would influence our personality. So some of them stems from the biologic and the generic or the genetic makeup that we have, while others we acquire those things as a person and we develop those personality because of the experiences that we have and the interactions that we have with the environment and with other people. Okay, however, there are certain disorders that are linked with our personality, and that is called as the personality disorders. So when we talk about personality disorders, they are diagnosed when there is an impairment in the personality functioning or in the personality traits that we see as maladaptive. Okay, so usually personality disorders are repetitive patterns. Okay, we could detect it with the person because they do that repetitively. Okay, so it would involve the way they think, feel, act, or even behave, and how they perceive others and what surrounds them. Okay, so usually when we talk about personality disorders, they are rigid, maladaptive, maladaptive patterns of functioning that are stable through time, and it could lead to unhappiness of these persons. Just like what we can see here on our slide. So, personality disorders are maladaptive, inflexible, because it is inflexible, so meaning to say they are rigid. Okay, and sometimes these things would affect and would interfere their activities of daily living. Okay, and our personality disorder usually arises during adolescence and early adulthood. So basically, we have 10 personality disorders, and these 10 personality disorders are divided into three clusters. We have cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. Okay, so when we talk about cluster A, so These are ad-eccentric cluster. Okay, so what are the examples of a personality disorder that are considered to be ad and eccentric? So these are the paranoid personality disorder, schizoid, and schizotypal. Okay, so on the other hand, we have the the cluster B. Okay, so usually our cluster B are known to be dramatic. They are unpredictable. So because of that, we could say that they are erratic. Okay? So we have four personality disorders under cluster B, and these are antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic, and narcissistic personality disorders. So basically, we are going to discuss and give you a view about these different personality disorders later. Okay? So, and lastly, we have the cluster C. So, our cluster C is characterized to be anxious, to be fearful. So, they always have the anxious and fearful behaviors that they have. Okay, so examples of this are the avoidant personality, dependent personality, and the obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So if we're going to count them all, we have three from cluster A, four from cluster B, and three from cluster C, with a total of 10 personality disorders. Okay, so what happened? Why do we develop personality disorders? So personality disorders etiology is rooted into two different theory. One is a biologic theory or the biological theory, and the other one is what we known as the psychodynamic theories. Okay, so when we talk about the biological theory, so they are telling about the temperament personality components, and they are noted to be biological or genetic. So meaning to say that um, the family and the genes would affect whether we're going to have personality disorders. I mean, most likely if one of the family member has one, so there is a possibility that we could also have um, personality disorders. Okay, so when we talk about temperament, so temperament refers to the biologic process of sensation, association, and motivation that would underline the integration of the skills and habits that are based on our emotions. So we all know that we have four temperament traits. So, for instance, we have the harm avoidance. So, this exhibit fear or uncertainty, or they exhibit social inhibitions, being shy, especially with strangers, rapid fatigability, and pessimistic and worrying anticipation are part of it. So, another thing, we also have the novelty seeking. So, again, the first one, we have the harm avoidance. The second is the novelty seeking. So novelty seeking is a result in someone who is quick-tempered. So they are curious, they are easily bored, and because of that, they are impulsive and extravagant, and most of the time they are disorderly. Okay, so our third temperament personality is the reward dependence. So reward dependence, we could look at onto it as how a person responds to the different social cues. Okay. And lastly, we have persistence. So when we talk about persistence, it involves being hardworking, being ambitious, and overachiever. So most likely they respond to fatigue and frustration as a personal challenge. Okay, so basically each of those four genetically influenced traits would affect a person's automatic responses to certain situations. Okay, and they are telling, according to studies, that these response patterns are ingrained with us starting by 2 to 3 years of age. Okay, so basically that are the things that are stated with biological theories. So again, we could get them because of our genes. Okay, so we have four um, temperament personalities that we have discussed. So they are persistence, reward dependence, novelty seeking, and our harm avoidance. On the other hand, we also have the second theory or the second part of why most likely people would be able to have personality disorders, and that is the psychodynamic theories. Okay, so although temperament is largely inherited, social learning, our culture, and random life events are unique to each person, and it could also affect and influence our character. So, character consists of concepts about self, about the external world. Okay, and because of that, there are three major character traits that have been distinguished. So, one of the major character trait is the self-directedness. So, it means that it extends to which a person is being responsible, being reliable, resourceful, and goal oriented. So usually they are also self confident. Okay, so that's the first character trait, self-directedness. The second one is cooperativeness. So when we talk about cooperativeness, it extent to which a person sees him or herself as an integral part of the human society. Meaning to say they will work with other people, they will try to blend and adopt with other people. So that is cooperativeness. And lastly, we have the self transcendence. Okay, again, self transcendence. So this one extends to which a person considers him or herself to be an integral part of the universe. So if you will take note of it, cooperativeness is how they see himself or herself as an integral part of the human society. However, when we talk about self transcendence, it is on a higher level and it is on a higher basis. So how they perceives themselves as a part, an integral part of the universe. Okay, so overall, when we talk about management for patients with a personality disorder, so what we could do are combinations of things. So there could be a combination of medication and possible group and individual therapies. Okay, it is stated that they are more likely to be effective than using just a single treatment. So again, for our treatment, it could be a combination of different treatment like medication together with group and individual therapies. So when we talk about medications, so medications really here for personality disorder will depends on the symptoms that they exhibit. Okay, so there is a wide range of medications that could be given for patients with personality disorders like lithium. So when we talk about lithium, that is an anti-manic. So yeah, that you are correct. So we could also give some mood stabilizers like the anticonvulsants that we were able to discuss before. We could also give them anxiolytics like benzodiazepines. Usually, these are used to treat if the patient are more aggressive, if they manifest aggressions. Okay. So aside from our medication, we could also have emotional instability and mood swings. So basically, if the patient exhibits emotional instability, they are exhibiting mood swing. So usually, according to studies, they respond well and favorably with lithium, with carbamazepines, with valproate, as long as and other neuroleptics. Okay, so again, when we talk about neuroleptics, we have our first generation, second, third generations medications. Okay, aside from emotional instability, they could also experience emotional detachment. They are too cold or they have aloof emotions. It seems that they have disinterest, especially in social relations. Okay, so if these are the symptoms that the patients are manifesting, so what could we give is that they usually respond well with our antidepressants, especially with the SSRIs, and they also respond well with atypical antipsychotics. So again, when we talk about SSRIs, what do we have? We have pisil, right? Okay, so do review your psychopharmacology for you to remember what does means or stands for. And when we talk about atypical antipsychotics, these are the crocs, right? Okay, so other possible things that they could experience is that they could have chronic anxiety. And if the patients are experiencing chronic anxiety, they do respond well with SSRIs. Again, SSRIs are pisil, and they also respond well with MAOIs. So always remember, I have my pamana with you. Okay? So in terms of the individual and group therapy, so we could use different psychotherapy, and look for psychotherapy that focuses on building trust, on teaching basic living skills. What else? Things that will provide, or they would feel that they were provided well with support, decreasing symptoms, and improving relationship. So another thing that would really help is the use of different relaxation techniques and meditation techniques. So usually using the relaxation and meditation techniques could help manage anxiety of our patients. Okay. So a while ago, we are discussing, or I am telling you that we have 10 different personality disorders, right? And these 10 personality disorders are classified or categorized into three clusters. Again, cluster A is, okay, so usually they are ad and eccentric, okay? So next we have cluster B. So cluster B, they are usually dramatic. They are also erratic. Okay? And lastly, cluster C, they are characterized to be anxious and fearful. Okay, so very good. So now, let's try to look at with the different personality disorders. So let's start with the first three under the cluster A. So again, cluster A, they are characterized to be odd and eccentric. So there's a very distinct feature about them that we could easily see. Okay? So the first one, we have a paranoid personality disorder. So what you can see here are the characteristics of a paranoid. Okay, so get a fact. Okay, so usually they have grudges that they held for long periods. So exploitations are expected. So even without sufficient basis. So there's, of course, this one, trustworthiness of others are always doubted. That is very typical of patients with paranoid. Okay, so usually they are very private. they have extreme mistrust and extreme suspiciousness, okay? Because they always doubt the trustworthiness of other people. Okay, so fidelity of sexual partner are always questioned. So if you will notice, they are questioning a lot of things. They have a lot of things on their mind that are still unsolved. Okay, so they attack on character. Okay, so attacks on character are being perceived, and they also confides in others. However, it is rarely, okay, and they have threatening meanings read into events. So usually they have different interpretations on the situation and on the things that they are noticing. So with those things in mind, okay. So how are we going to manage patients with paranoid personality disorders? One of the things is make sure that you are always serious and you are straightforward, okay? Meaning to say, tell them what are you going to do before doing it. Okay. Once you tell them, make sure that you're going to do it. Okay, that will happen. Okay, because we really wanted to gain the trust that they have. Always remember they have extreme mistrust and suspiciousness. They feel that everyone are against them. Okay, they always doubt other people and circumstances. So that's why we need to be serious and straightforward. Okay. So aside from that, we also need to teach them to validate ideas before taking actions. So they need to know when to act, and it is important that they were able to validate their suspicious and their suspicions. Okay, before doing some actions. Um, next, since they are very suspicious, so do not give them things that are already open. For example, you're going to offer water, so it is better if you're going to give bottled water and they're the one who's going to open it. For example, you're going to give a sandwich, so make sure that it is still sealed and they are the one who's going to open it, just for them to minimize um, the trust issues and being suspicious. Okay. Again, involve them in the treatment of planning so that they will also know what are the things that will be um, part of the nursing care plan for them. And most likely, since they are part in doing and planning for the treatment process, I'm hoping that we could be able to get their cooperation along the way. Okay. So next, so another cluster A type of personality disorder is schizoid. Okay. So always remember that the thing that you need to remember is serve safe. Okay. So usually schizoids live on a solitary life. Okay. So meaning to say that they are detached from social relationship. They are withdrawn. They wanted to be alone, just be themselves. Okay. Um, with that, it is expected that they are introvert, that they are aloof, and that they has a solitary lifestyle. So when we talk about solitary lifestyle, so they are more involved with things rather than with people. What do I mean with that? They like to interact more with inanimate objects or other living things like plants and animals rather than catching up with other people. Okay? So aside from having a solitary life, they have indifferent to praise and criticism, so they don't take well praises and criticisms. So relationships of no interest, that's why they wanted to be alone. Okay, they are detached. So sexual experiences are not of interest, activities are not being enjoyed, friends are lacking, and emotionally cold and detached. Okay, so if we're going to look at it. So yeah, they have restricted affect. Um, they are very introvert, they are very aloof, and they just wanted to be alone and most likely just interact with the things that they have rather than interacting with people. So for us to help them, maybe we could help them to improve clients functioning with the community. So I'm not telling that we're going to expose them at once because that would be flooding and it will be a lot of emotions and things that they could be thinking with that. So maybe we could just do it on baby steps, small steps at a time. Okay. However, we still need to help them to communicate or to at least talk with one person within the community. Then, once they are okay with that, maybe we could add another one until they are more comfortable interacting with other people. Okay. So, and this is the last type of personality disorder under cluster A. And this is the schizotypal personality disorder. Okay, so what are the things that we could observe for patients with schizotypal? So basically, UFO aider. Okay. I always think schizotypal as hermits. I always um connect hermits with schizotypal. Reason is because of the presenting symptoms that they usually have. Okay, because when I see a hermit and a schizotypal, both of them are odd. They are very unique. They have very eccentric behavior. Okay. However, even though they are eccentric, they have poor social skills, and most likely the things that they are saying are not the same as what we perceive as real. Okay. So because of that, they have unusual perceptions. Yeah, they are friendless. However, they could communicate and they could interact with their family. So they have odd beliefs, thinking, and speech. That's why I'm telling that they could have a distorted cognitive and perceptual thinking. Okay, in terms of affect, they are inappropriate and constricted. They have ideas of reference. Okay, so they feel that most of the people or things happening, they are talking or they pertains on him about those things. So they are suspicious, so they usually doubt others. So they are eccentric, they are very odd, not only with the behavior, but even with the appearance. Just look at the photo, okay? And they are reluctant in terms of social situations and they are anxious, okay? So, what other management can we give for patients with schizotypal? So, maybe we could help them develop self care skills. Okay. Maybe we could help them in terms of um, what are the things that they need to do to take care of themselves. Okay. Another thing is we could also train them in terms of social skills and try to improve their community functioning. Okay. So if you will notice, cluster A are really odd and eccentric. They are very unique. They are very different from others. Okay, so now let's move on with our cluster B. So again, for cluster B, we have four. So what are those four? We have antisocial, we have borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic. Okay, so let's start with antisocial personality disorder. So for antisocial personality disorder, so they are callous men. Okay. So usually it is conduct disorder if they are younger. So 15 years old and below, we call it as conduct disorder. However, if you are 18 years old and above, and you are still exhibiting these things, it is already known as antisocial personality disorder. Okay? So, how can we see that they are antisocial? So they manifest antisocial acts. They commit acts that are grounds for arrest. What do we mean by that? Basically, patients with antisocial personality disorder, they try to disregard the rights of others. They try to disregard the rules and the laws. Okay, so meaning to say they like to break the law. So if we have a rule, if we have a guideline, they love to break those things. Okay? They go otherwise. If we said that we're going to the right, so instead of going to the right, they will choose going to the left. Okay? They are violent. That's why it is a ground for arrest. Okay? So aside from that, letter L, they lie frequently. Okay. Um, lack Lacks of superego. Remember when we talk about superego, we have the conscience, right? And the ego ideal. So they lack of it. So meaning to say, most likely they lack of conscience. So since they lack conscience, it means that they also lack the sense of guilt. Even though they do bad things, they were able to hurt other people, they didn't feel any um, guilty feeling about what they have done. Okay? So any obligations are not being honored. They are unstable. Okay? Meaning to say, even though we were able to plan things, they are okay with it, they would still break it. Okay, they are unstable. So because of those things, most likely they are not thinking about their own safety and of course even the safety of other people. So in terms of money, they could experience money problems. Okay, they are aggressive, they could be assaultive, so they will help hurt other people, and not occurring exclusively during schizophrenia or mania. Meaning to say, it's not only because they have schizo or mania, but these things, they could still do it if they have antisocial behavior. Okay? So, for nursing care, it is important for us to limit setting, make sure we always tell the limitations, even though we are thinking that they will break it, but it is important. And make sure if we said that there will be some things that will happen if they do otherwise, make sure to do it. Okay. So you could also do confrontation. Okay. Um, we could also teach client on how to solve problems effectively and manage emotions, especially how they could be able to manage their anger and their frustrations. Okay? So the second one for cluster B is the borderline personality disorder. So usual things that we could see is I raise a pain. Usually they feel that they are holding the whole world with them. Usually they feel that they have a lot of problems. Okay, that is why if you're going to see letter S stands for suicidal gestures. So usually they like to harm themselves. Okay, so other than those, so relationships are unstable. Okay, abandonment, frantically avoided, so whether real or imagined. They are impulsive, so they are doing things even without thinking in doing so. Yeah, that's why they have the suicidal gesture. They feel that they are empty. Okay, they feel that they cannot see the purpose of their lives, so that could be a borderline. So usually they could also experience dissociative symptoms, hoping that you still remember dissociation with our defense mechanisms. So in terms of their affect, it is unstable, so they could also have a paranoid ideation, usually because of stress or the things that are happening every now and then. Okay. In terms of their anger, they cannot control it, and they have idealization. Okay, and usually their ideals are um, they are quite pessimistic, so negativistic, meaning to say that their thoughts are most likely always on the negative side. Okay, so they usually undermine themselves. Okay, they have low self-esteem, and because of that, it will result to the feeling of self-defeating, and later they wanted again to do suicidal gestures or self-mutilations. Okay, so for borderline, it's normal for them to feel that they want to die and to take their own lives. Okay, so for nursing care, so with that, safety is important. Make sure that they are always safe. Another thing is um, maybe we could help them to cope, to control their emotions. So maybe we could help them to look at things on how they could control and cope with the different emotions that they are feeling. And we could also help them to have social skills so that they would know that it is not only them, they are not alone with what they are experiencing. Okay, so next, we have the histrionic personality. So histrionic, usually they wanted to be seen. Okay, they wanted to be at the center of everyone's attention. So with that, I would say that histrionic personality disorder has an excessive emotional and um, excessive emotionally, and they are attention seeker. Okay, so usually they are also extrovert. So here are the other things that we could see for patients with histrionic personality disorder. So one, they have inappropriate behavior. Usually they would love to wear something that is seductive or provocative. Okay, not only what they're wearing, but also what they are doing. So they wanted to be the center of attention. Remember, I've told you that they are attention seekers. In terms of relationship, they are seen as closer than they really are. So they always feel that they are close with everyone, even though it's not. Okay, so for them, appearance is important for them to be able to be seen. They are vulnerable in terms of suggestions from others. So, meaning to say, they are very vulnerable in terms of criticisms or other comments for them. Okay, next. Um, they have exaggerated emotional expression. So usually they react over the top. So we call it as OA, overacting. That's normal among histrionic. So they are shallow and they shift emotions easily. So in terms of how they speak, since they want to impress others, so it lacks details. It's more on a general and broad thing. And novelty is being craved. Okay? So how are we going to um, manage patients with histrionic? So it is important for them to learn social skills. And if we are the one who are taking care of these people, make sure that we give factual feedbacks. Okay, we need to give factual feedbacks about their behaviors. Okay, lastly, for cluster B, we have narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic, when we talk about narcissistic, that is too much love for oneself. Okay, so usually they also need some admirations with them. Okay, so that is why a fame game. Okay, they wanted to be famous, and how to be famous? They are seeking for admirations. Okay, so admiration required in excessive amounts. So they usually fantasizes about unlimited success, unlimited brilliance, so anything that will keep them famous, okay? Because they feel that they are famous, they are something that is important. So they are quite arrogant, they are manipulative, and they also envy others, especially those people that they feel are higher or superior than them. Okay? So they also exhibit some delusion, which is the delusion of, yeah, delusion of grandeur. So meaning to say they really put themselves at the top of the chart. Okay? So they also associates with special people because they feel that they are special, and it is always me first attitude. Always remember, with narcissistic, it is love for self, and since it is love for self, so they believe that they need to be prioritized. Okay, and because of that they lack empathy. Okay, so they're not thinking about how other people might feel or might think with the things that they are saying or that they are doing. Okay, so how can we manage people with narcissistic personality behavior? So, first, have the matter of fact approach. Okay, so always just tell them what is truthful, what is factual. Do not give them something over the top. Okay. Another thing, we also need to gain their trust and their cooperation. And maybe we could help them in terms of self-care skills and how to socialize more with other people. Okay. So we're done with clusters A and cluster B. So we're moving forward with the last three, and they are part of the cluster C. So the first one under cluster C is avoidant personality disorder. So I think there are quite a lot of us here that are quite avoidant. Okay. So what are the things that we could notice with people who are avoidant? So ridicule. So they restrained within relationships. Okay, so inhibited in interpersonal situations. There are disapproval expected at work. When we talk about that, as much as possible, since we're talking about avoidant, they try to avoid things. Okay, for example, there are some leadership roles. Okay, they will be avoiding the possibility that they would be chosen to be the leader of the group. So that is an avoidance. So that is why there is disapproval expected at work. Okay, so inadequate. They do that because they feel that they are inadequate. They feel that they are lesser as compared with others. Some are avoiding certain responsibilities. They are being avoidant because they fear criticism. And we know that social situations will always give some criticisms. Okay, so next, unwilling to get involved. So they are longing for attachment to others, and they are fearing to experience embarrassment. So usually, if I'm going to sum it up, what an avoidant personality disorder is, usually they have social inhibitions. They are the people who fear rejection. They fear that they will feel inferior as compared to others. Avoidant personality disorder would also lead to hypersensitivity, especially if there are negative criticisms or negative comments and evaluations for them. Okay, so what can we do for persons with avoidant personality disorder? So we can give our support to them. Okay, for example, if they are having trouble or they didn't want to be leaders, so if you are a member of the group, make sure that you are going to support and help that person. Okay, so aside from that, we also need to help them to at least increase the self-esteem that they have, because most likely people with avoidant personality disorders, have low self-confidence and low self-esteem. Okay? So the next one is the dependent personality disorders. There are some of you who are very unwilling to to experience things. What do I mean? For example, you are going to a fast food chain. Okay, so instead of them doing the orders, so they are being dependent to other people. So that is one of the more classic type of a dependent personality disorder. So here are some of the other things that we could see. So darn hurt. So disagreement is difficult to express, yeah, because they are not independent and feeling that once they disagree on something, it will ruin the relationship that they have. So with that, they are not expressing any disagreement, they just agree to what other have stated. So advice, so needs excessive input. Okay, responsibility for major areas are delegated to others. So because they feel that they cannot do it because they are very dependent. So they just give the responsibility to other people. So with that, we could see that patients with dependent personality disorder lack self-confidence. Okay, nurturance. So usually they seek excessive degree from others. They are so clingy and they feel that they always need other people. So helpless when they are alone, because they are very go with the flow with other people. So unrealistically preoccupied with being left to care for self. Okay, so because they have the feeling that they need to be taken care of. Okay, in terms of relationships, so they are desperately sought. Yeah, they wanted to be always with others. And in task, so they has difficulty initiating any project because they are more of the submissive type of person rather than a proactive. Okay? So if you're going to notice again, when we talk about dependent personality disorders, usually they lack self-confidence. They wanted to be taken care of and they are very submissive rather than being active in any form of relationship. So for nursing care, what can we do for patients with dependent personality disorder? So maybe we could teach them self-reliance. We could also help them to exercise their autonomy, just like what we are doing with the toddlers and the preschoolers. Remember, the toddler, they always wanted to exercise their autonomy, right? So maybe what we could do is instead of us doing the critical thinking and solving problem for them, or doing the choices that they need to do. So maybe we could just open up two options for them to choose. Okay. So with that, most likely we could be able to at least through our small steps, we could help them to to at least learn how to be independent later on. Okay. Another thing we could also teach them in terms of problem solving and decision making skills. Okay. And lastly, we have the obsessive compulsive personality. So this is not it is almost the same as the obsessive compulsive disorder, but always remember that obsessive compulsive disorder is due to the anxiety that they are experiencing. However, for the obsessive compulsive personality, again, it is more on the biologic side of having this one. Okay, so what do we need to remember? Low mirth. Okay, so leisure activity is minimal. Yeah, because if you're going to notice, they don't want to be um um basically they want to be organized always. Okay, so most likely they might experience difficulty in finishing task with that. That's why leisure activity is very minimal. So organizational focus, just like I've told you, they like to be organized and to make sure that everything are on their proper places. So work and productivity are predominant. Yeah, they could work, they could do a lot, not really a lot of things, but they would use a lot of time in doing the work. Okay, but whether they finish it or not, we're not sure. Why? Because they are preoccupied with orderliness. They are preoccupied with perfectionism and being in control. Okay, so other things that we could see on patients with obsessive compulsive personality. So they are inflexible, yeah, because they have the rigid mind, the rigid thinking to do the things that they obsess to. Okay, so rigidity and stubbornness, task completion is impaired. Yeah, that's why I'm telling that they are doing things, but whether they would be able to finish it is another thing. Why? Because again, they are preoccupied by orderliness. They are preoccupied by perfectionism. So once they see things that are not really aligned or not really in order, they will do it again. That's why the task completion is impaired. And usually they are also hoarders. They like to hoard items, meaning to say that it's hard for them to let go of things. Okay? They cannot discard items that they already have. Okay, so how are we going to help them? Okay, so one is maybe we could encourage to negotiate things. For example, um, yeah, we let them do it in orderly and perfect manner, but maybe we could just tell them that they could only redo it up to 3 times. After that, they need to move on to the next one. Okay. Another thing is we also need to help them and assist them to make timely decisions for them to be able to complete the work. Because most likely, if they would be able to feel the satisfaction after completing a work, so they would long to finish the work as much as possible. Okay. So for cluster C, we have the avoidant, we have the dependent, and we have the obsessive compulsive personality. Okay, so yeah, as we close our discussion in terms of personality disorders, we always need to remember that behind every difficult behavior is often a history of pain. It could be because of trauma and the unmet needs that they had. So our role as nurses is not to judge them, but our role is to support them with boundaries, support them with compassion, and support them with our professional skills. With understanding and consistency, we can make a meaningful difference in the lives of those living with personality disorders. So, as future nurses, keep learning, stay compassionate, and always see the person behind the diagnosis. And with that, I would like to thank you for staying with me. Once again, this is Doc A, and hoping that you're going to have a very good day. Okay, so see you next time. Thank you.